And good morning, or good afternoon, or evening, whatever time it is when you are watching this. It is morning for me, and it is not that early in the morning, but it is early, and I'm going hiking. This is going to be primarily a writing vlog, but it's also going to be a hiking vlog. This is the hike, write, repeat vlog. Writing and hiking, hiking and writing. Yeah, I figured I'm not vlogging every day in November for NaNoWriMo as much as I would love to. I just can't do that and then go straight into Vlogmas. My brain would melt. But I do want to try to vlog as much of my NaNoWriMo writing, working sessions as possible. So I didn't do anything yesterday, or I didn't vlog anything yesterday. I managed 840 words. So sticking right around my goal. Very happy with that. I do want to try to do closer to 1,000 words today. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I thought I would vlog today and tomorrow and possibly Sunday. So it's Friday today. So vlog the next 2 or 3 writing sessions and share those with you. And yeah, also share the hikes that I go on today, tomorrow, and Sunday, because I'm definitely going to hike each of these days. It is gorgeous. It is 64 degrees. It is going up to about 85 degrees, which is warmer than it's been the last few days. But like when 85 is like the hottest day we're getting, I can't complain about that. So I'm going to go and enjoy this hike. Then I've got some teaching work to do. Then Mom and I are going to Whole Foods later in the afternoon. My whole day is getting a bit topsy-turvy. I'm not sure how much of that I will vlog because I want to just focus on the writing. And then after I get back from Whole Foods and finish up all my teaching work for the day, then we will do some writing. I want to do some NaNoWriting, and I also think I want to do some cover design work for Independent Hearts 3. Just make some progress on that, and then we'll work on NaNoWriMo. So I'm hoping to have an hour and a half to 2 hours at the end of the day to work on book stuff. And so then that could be a bit of Independent Hearts 3 and a bit of Nano, and yeah, that would be nice. So yeah, so that's the rough plan. That's where we're starting this vlog at. So before it gets any warmer, it's only 66 degrees. It's gone up. So before it gets any warmer, it's full sun. Not a single, well, there's a tiny wisp of a cloud in the distance. I don't think that qualifies as a cloud. I'll show you in a minute. So there's basically no clouds, but it is a cool morning, bright sunshine. Should be a gorgeous hike. So let's get going. right, I am done. That was fantastic. That was so great. It's 71 degrees, so it is warming up, but it still feels really nice out. The air just feels slightly cool, which is great. Sun feels warm, but the air still feels slightly cool. So when there's a breeze, it's gorgeous. I definitely need to get my balcony put back in order. I might do that this weekend. Get my table back out, get my chair back out so that I can sit out there and do some writing, do some reading, because mornings are gorgeous and afternoons, evenings are gorgeous, and I should take advantage of that. I'm so ready to open up my windows. I'd say you all have no idea, but I feel like some of you have been watching me long enough that you probably do have some idea of how excited I am that it is finally autumn winter again. Yeah, so it was a lovely hike, gorgeous hike, had a great time. The weather's great, scenery is gorgeous, the light out here with the sun and the shadows against the mountains that are still, you know, in shadow because the sun isn't that high yet. Oh, it's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I love hiking in the morning. It's just rare that I can get out here early enough before the sun is a bit too high and too hot. Like, daytime hikes are fun. Morning, like, to get out here earlier in the morning when the sun is still low is beautiful. Like, I'd love to do sunrise hikes. I just can't wake up that early. Maybe in the, you know, depths of winter when the sun is like coming up late compared to earlier in the season, like maybe in December when the sun is coming up the latest that it does all year long, maybe I can manage a sunrise hike. But right now the sun is coming up later, but it's still coming up early enough that I can't get up and out here in time. So I do tend to do sunset hikes. So that's probably what we'll do tomorrow. And sunset hikes are magic as well. So that'll be nice. But yeah, it was a gorgeous morning, gorgeous hike. Now I'm ready to go home, get freshened up a little bit, get some work done, run my errands, all of that stuff. And then a little bit later, we'll do some writing. Okay, it is now 5 o'clock. This has been such a long day, but it's been good. And I can cross off working on Independent Hearts. I've been doing some cover work for the last hour. I've been listening to an audiobook. I'm currently listening to His and Hers by Alice Feeney. So it's the second Alice Feeney book that I am reading. I loved Rock, Paper, Scissors. This one is also co-narrated by Richard Armitage. So I put in a request to hold for this one the same time I did Rock, Paper, Scissors. This one took a little bit longer to come available, but I've got it now. I'm 2 hours into it. Now it is after 5 o'clock. I want to stop working at like 6. I have got myself some gingerbread snaps, some ginger snap cookies, and some hot chocolate. So a little bit of a boost to get me through this last bit. I've been doing some cover work and some book description work, and I've sent things to a couple really good friends to get their feedback. I'm now going to kind of step away from Independent Hearts for another day. But yeah, I have a book description now, and the cover illustration, the front cover, is colored in. There's nothing left to color in, and I'm at that stage with both the description and the cover where it's like, I hate it, it's horrible, it needs so much work. and then I'll look at it tomorrow and be like, actually, maybe it's not so bad. The first draft of the book description, I just bashed it out really quick and was like, this is horrible, but I'm going to send it to my mom anyway. Sent it to her, and she was like, maybe I'm tired, but I think it's good. And then we both looked at it the next day, and I'm like, actually, I do kind of like it. Like, is it perfect? No. Is it ever going to be perfect? No. So I've sent it to 2 friends. One is already like, yeah, I like it. So we'll see what the other friend says, and I'll look at everything again. Probably on Monday. I think over the weekend I'm going to work on proofreading corrections and marking those. But for now, I'm focusing on Nano. So I've got my playlist pulled up on Epidemic Sound, so I'm going to get the music going. I've got Scrivener open. I am aiming for 830 words today, according to Scrivener. So obviously with Nano there's the 50,000 word goal. I'm not aiming for that here. I'm aiming for 25. So the words needed tally on Nano is just going to keep going up and up and up. You know, my daily goal on Nano is just going to keep going up. But my goal in Scrivener right now is set for 25,000 words by the end of November 30th. And so that is the word count that I am going on. So that's what we're going to focus on. So I'm going to write 830 words. I'd love to try to get up to 1,000 today. I could work until 6:30. I just don't really want to. So we'll see. At least 830. If I can get a little over that, that would be great. But the sun is going down and I am getting really tired, and I am going to want to, like, the snack will help, but I am going to want to stop and have dinner before it gets too late. So we'll just have to see. Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I'm stopping. I have managed 1,070 words, so I need to add this to Nano because I keep forgetting to do that. Yeah, I needed 1,724 words today if I was trying to get to 50,000. I've been doing about half the word count, and I'm aiming for half the goal, so we shall see. But I do have some badges already. And some more buddies. That's exciting. What badges do I have? Updating my writing progress. My first day update. I have a 2-day streak and a 3-day streak. And I have written, between these 3 days, 1,667 words. I will probably keep the streak badges. I do want to try to write every day, even if it's just 10 words, because then I can keep the streak at least. So if I write at least 10 words, like on Thanksgiving, I'd be able to keep the streak, and I can probably update more than once in one day. I should get up to the 25k word badge. I just won't get to the 40k or 50k. I mean, most likely not. It's not impossible, it's just not likely, especially at the rate I'm going. Even though I am writing very stream of consciousness, I'd have to start dictating, and I probably do need to start dictating, but I don't know, like I don't know. I should try dictating and see if that works any better, but it's definitely My brain is a very weird place to be right now working on this project. I have notes scattered across a few different places, which does make it easier. It's helping quite a bit because I've got it broken up into general notes, into like a rough outline, characters, timeline, like story, timeline, locations, stuff related to the fantasy elements and world building and magic and stuff. And that's fun. I won't lie. That's been really fun so far. I'm really enjoying this. But like within all these notes, I've got 2,800 words written so far. And yeah, like I feel like half of that are questions. I have so many questions. And then like I've added in here, like in bold, in larger font, in all caps, what is the POV of this story? I have no idea what point of view. I think in the first draft, I was writing it third person past, because that is my preference. But I think I was trying to go for multiple POVs, like an omniscient POV, not a limited one. And I don't think I was very successful at that. Like I've learned so much about POV in just the last few years that I've been writing and publishing romance novels. So I need to nail down, I've got quite a few different characters. I feel like I want to stick to somewhat limited points of view and from a few different characters, but then that gets so complicated. So I need to figure that out. That's not something I have to figure out right now, but that is something I will need to figure out at some point in the not so distant future. But I'm so tired. I can feel my brain shutting down. It's been a long day. It's been a very busy day. A very busy day. Like this morning feels like a lifetime ago, going for that hike. And then even working at my desk on teaching work feels like a lifetime ago. Although I will say, I had a very, very lovely email in my work email this morning from a former student from spring of 2022, so almost 2 years ago, just saying that, you know, she's getting ready to graduate and she's thinking back on her time at the university and she really loved my class and she really liked me as a professor and I am what all professors should try to be in her opinion. And it was just so lovely and not asking for anything in return. Like it wasn't, here's all these lovely compliments, by the way, can you write me a letter of recommendation or something like that. It was just nothing but compliments for me and my class and what my class and my teaching meant to the student. And it was just one of the nicest things I have ever received from a student. Like, teaching is such a thankless job most of the time, especially when you teach a required course. Your students don't want to be there. They don't care. It's just a box they've got to tick off. And I don't do it for the thanks. I don't do it for the glamour. I don't do it for the money, that's for sure. I genuinely love teaching. I love teaching writing because I love writing. And so I do have a passion for it. Like I don't teach creative writing, but I do teach writing in general because writing is communication. Communication is human. To be a human is to communicate. To write is to communicate. So writing is just part of the human condition, I feel like. I often feel like I'm banging my head against a brick wall trying to get my students to understand this, but then I get an email like this one. It's rare, but every now and then I get an email like this, and it's just so clear that even a year and a half later, this student is still thinking about what I taught them in class, and it means something. And I just about burst into tears at my desk reading it because it's been a very long semester, but a very fast semester. Like it's gone by really quick, but I just feel so worn down. It was just what I needed. So it's been a long day, but then there've been moments like that that's just, I feel it's made me feel like I've been on a cloud all day. So writing has gone well. Nano has gone well. I'm excited about this project. I'm daunted. I'm so overwhelmed and intimidated by this project. It just I can feel it. It feels massive, but it's been over 10 years and I just can't walk away from it, you know? So clearly I have to do it. And the more I wait, like, this is going, if this ever gets published, it's still years away from being published. And not just because it'll take a while to find an agent and it'll take a while to find a publisher, and if that doesn't work out, then I'll self-publish it, and all of that will take a while. But like, it's going to take me a while just to get what I'm starting right now worked on. And I want to finish this before I go back and work on the first draft. And I can't start the querying process and all of that until I have the first draft edited and done and ready to be shared. So like, it could take me 2 years before I even start querying this around. And so that's really daunting and overwhelming and intimidating. So I don't know. We'll see. But I can't stop. Like, it'd be so easy for me to say, this is too big, it's too much. I'm gonna go back to romance because that's easier to manage, it's shorter, it's less complicated. Like the fantasy series is just so different from the romance. So much more complicated. So it would be very easy to say, it's too much, I don't want to do it. But I can't do that. There's something in me that's just like, no, you have, like, this story is going, it's just gonna like take over my brain if I don't start working on it again. And it's not going to be the priority, which is why it's going to take a while to get even to the point where I can start editing the first book. And who knows, we'll see how much progress I make by the end of this month. Like, I'm amazed with how much progress I've made in just the last few days. And like, yes, most of what I've written are questions, but you can't answer the questions until you know the questions you're asking. So even just writing down questions is still really valuable for me. So yeah, that's where we're at today. I need to step away because I need to go relax. I am so tired. I need to go get dinner and sit down and watch TV. I don't think I watched last week's episode of Bake Off, so that means I should have 2 episodes of Bake Off I can watch tonight, and that sounds like exactly what my poor frazzled brain needs right now. Okay, it is Saturday. I have to keep reminding myself it's only Saturday, but it is Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock. I have been doing a bit of book work here for the last couple of hours. I spent half of that time, a little more than half, working on Independent Hearts. I now have all of the proofread corrections that I marked up are all now corrected in the vellum file. So that's exciting. So that's coming along. So then at about a little bit after 3, I started working on Project Darkness. And so I've been working on that for the last 45 minutes. That's coming along. I wish I could show you. I'll have to create like a blank version of kind of what I'm doing, so I can show you. But basically I have as the beginnings of a skeleton outline and the main plot point. So kind of like I was explaining, I think in the last vlog, how I've got the tent poles, is what I call them, and other authors call them that as well, the tent poles of the story. So I've figured out the tent poles of the whole series, and now I'm kind of overlaying that with each individual book in the series and how I think that's going to kind of plot out, and where each of the main series tent poles falls within each book, and which tent pole of each book that thing will be. And so now I'm figuring out like everything in between that. So I figured out a way to like make it make sense in my head and make it make sense in Scrivener so that I can see most of it all at once. I could probably see the whole page all at once if I shifted it over to my external monitor. But yeah, I have a lot of blank slots for the outline, but it's coming together, and then I'll just keep expanding it out and expanding it out. But it did make me realize that I probably do need to reread the first book and what I've already written. I'm now starting to think, like I was flipping through the big binder version because I was trying to remember what the midpoint of that book was, and I kind of feel like this, like the scene that I just opened up to when I opened it to the middle of the book was not really what I was thinking of for the midpoint. So I think I need to read it again and like read it on my Kindle. I did open up my annotation app, and I do already have a copy so clearly I was trying to read it on my iPad at one point. I don't see any notes in red, so I don't think I ended up actually reading through what is on here. So I think I want to do that. There's a lot I can do while I'm rereading that. There's a lot I can do without really needing to focus on what I've already written for book one, and I almost think it kind of might help. Like I really think book one is not going to be that recognizable once I edit it. Now that I've restarted this project, I do think it's going to be, like the core of it will be the same. The underlying story, the heart of the characters, the core of the characters is going to be the same. But I was not even 30 when I started writing that book, and I'm now almost 43. My personality is a little bit different. I've grown. The stories that I find interesting are a little bit different. There's going to be a lot of things that I know are just going to change, and so I don't know how influenced by that book. Like I don't want to rewrite book one. I don't want to completely start from scratch when I start editing book one. I want it to be an edit, but I kind of think I want to treat what I've been calling the first draft. I think I need to start shifting to thinking of that as a zero draft. I'd say at least half of it will stay the same, or will copy paste or whatever. I'm now starting to think that a lot more is going to change than I initially thought. And it's not that what the first draft is bad, because when I reread it a few years ago, I remember thinking it really wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be, which is good. So it's not that it's bad, but it's just the bigger story I'm trying to tell is different from what I was setting up in the original first draft. So if I was leaving it as just a single book, it's not bad as like a single book, and I could just make the story much smaller and contained to just one book, and then there wouldn't be that much that would need to change. But I now have a much bigger idea, and so the story needs to adapt to accommodate that. And so there's things that I was writing that just don't fit with that bigger idea. So I do need to reread draft one. I might start reading it in the next day or so, because I think even though a lot of it is changing, some of what I have might give me ideas to springboard off of. So I don't think I want to wait that long to reread it, but I also don't want to get too influenced to stay on the path I was going, if that makes sense. But anyway, it is nearly 4:15. The sun is going to set in just a little more than an hour. I need to go hiking. I'm already pretty much dressed. I just need to take off the sweatshirt and put on a t-shirt. And yeah, I want to go for a hike. But it's been a very relaxing but fairly productive. Like, I've only been working, well, I did edit a vlog, so I keep trying to remind myself. I did spend 2 hours editing a vlog, so I have worked for 4 hours today, but now I want to get back to relaxing and having fun and resting and having a nice cozy evening. Okay, it is now Sunday. I've just been reading all day. It's been lovely. I slept in a little bit, did some reading in bed, made some breakfast, did some reading out on the couch. But for now, it is 3 o'clock. I want to go hiking again at about 4, probably 4:30. So I want to finish writing at about 4:15 so that I've got time to get changed and get out to the park. I had a lovely hike yesterday. It was so good. I went down a trail that I haven't done since last season. It was my first time doing that trail. It's amazing how different it looks at the end of the summer compared to what I remember of it back in the spring. Like, it's really hard to remember what it looked like this time last year. So I can't tell if everything looks drier and deader than it did last October, November, but it definitely looks really crispy and dry and thinned out and dead compared to back in March when everything was so green and so lush. And it's hard to know what is just the normal cycle of seasons and how much of it is because we just had such a horribly dry, hot, super hot July, and it'll be interesting to see over the course of the winter if they bounce back. So much of the plant life, just this summer was really, really harsh, harsher than usual. Desert plants are surprisingly resilient. We can learn a lot from them about resilience, which is probably why I like hiking in the desert so much, because you do see things that you would have sworn were dead, and in just a matter of months, they are back to life again. So it'll be really interesting to see this season over the next few months what happens. But yeah, it was really nice to go hiking yesterday. Really had a really good time going down that trail. Had a lovely hike, a little over a mile, gorgeous sunset, and then just had a really nice, chilled, relaxing evening here at home. So that's what I'm hoping to do again. So we're gonna do some NaNoWriting and then go hiking. I am excited to work on Nano. I feel like Nano this year is so different. I'm going to keep talking about this throughout the month, I'm sure, but Nano is different, and it's partly because I'm being a rebel, But it's also largely, I think, it's partly because I'm being a rebel, but I think if I was working on one of my existing series, I don't think it would feel so different, even though I'm being a rebel. I think the biggest difference is the project I'm working on. This is so different from everything else I've ever written, and I've talked about this, I think, earlier in this vlog and in the last vlog. It's also different coming back to a book that I wrote 13 years ago that is the first book I've ever written, but now I'm approaching it with the experience of all 10 books, including the first draft of this one, that I've written over the last 13 years. And like 8 of those have just been written in the last 4 years, 3.5 to 4 years, like since 2019, because A Brave Start took me several years to write, and then I edited it in 2019 and then published it in December of 2019, and then it was starting in April of 2020 that I started writing Brave with You, which was book 2 of that series. And then so since April of 2020 I've written Brave with You, More Than Fate, Bookshop, Brave Together, Inn of Hopes and Dreams, Independent Hearts 3, Across the Pond 4, and Royal Romance 1. And I've started Across the Pond 5. So yeah, since April 2020 I've written 8 books and a bit of that 9th book. So I'm coming back to this project with all of that experience and everything I've learned over the last several years, but then definitely over the last few years that I've been studying creative writing a little bit more specifically, approaching this project now with all of the new knowledge and experience in creative writing that I have is just making this a very different experience. And I won't lie, I'm feeling very overwhelmed. I think I mentioned that earlier in this vlog, either yesterday or Friday. I think I talked a little bit about that. But I am feeling very overwhelmed by this in a good way. I'm not letting it block me or freeze me in some way. Like I'm excited, I'm hooked. I'm definitely hooked by the story and I want to keep going. But there's something about revisiting an old project that I did years ago when I was just a baby author, wannabe aspiring author. So it's partly that. It's also partly just a complete switch of genres. Like there will be romance in this, but it's still ultimately a fantasy, and it's not the same as writing my romance novels. So that's another huge difference. And then I'm developing this in a completely different way than I've developed my other series. So that's the third big difference. And then you add in the fact that it's Nano and I'm being a rebel and I'm not trying for 50K, and so then that's making Nano feel a little bit different. It's just, I don't know. It's exciting and I'm having fun and I'm so glad I'm doing this. Like, as overwhelmed as I've gotten over these first, I've done 4 writing sessions now on it. This will be the 5th one. As overwhelmed as I sometimes get and as daunted and intimidated as I can sometimes feel, I'm also still really excited, and I still really want to work on this project. I think the time factor is one of it. And I know I was talking about this before, that it feels like this is going to take so much time and it's going to be so long before it finally gets published. Whether it gets traditionally published or I publish independently, it's still years away from being published. Whereas like I know that once Independent Hearts 3 is done, I will start working on book 4 and that will be published within the next 12 to 18 months at the longest. Across the Pond 4 is already written, it needs to be edited. That will be out probably within the next 6 to 8 months. So like those just move at such a faster pace, and it feels like in the time that it will take me to publish this one, the fantasy project, start publishing it, not even finish writing all the books in the series and finish publishing it, but just it'll take me quite a few years just to start publishing it. And in that time I could publish at least 4 or 5 of my romance novels. And so it does there is that voice in the back of my head that's like, then why even bother? But thankfully there's a louder voice in my head saying, but you have to try. Or this book will drive you nuts. This series will drive me nuts. So like I have to at least try, and like I have to write it, even if I never do get it published, even if I only write it for me, I have to see how this story comes together. And it's just another example of how sometimes these stories can just get into my head in a way that almost feels otherworldly. It almost feels like it's something else that's driving me forward. Like it's almost like it's not entirely my choice. So I'm gonna work on it, and we'll see. We'll see where I'm at by the end of the month. I think part of it's also, it's still so early in this process that it does feel like it's taking forever, and it's hard, and it's a challenge, and it's, you know, all these things. But I think once I get to the end of the month, and if I've gotten 25,000 words, which is my goal, like I think it'll start coming together and making more sense. Like right now it just feels like nothing is connecting. I've got all these separate dots that I'm putting on the page, and there's very few lines connecting any of these dots. I'm hopeful that by the end of the month some of the dots will be starting to connect, and I'll be starting to see that bigger picture that I'm working for. So I'm just continuing to move forward by just putting dots on the mental page, so to speak. So yeah, that's where my brain is at as we start day 5 of NaNoWriMo. So it is 3:11. I'm gonna write for the next 50 minutes, 49 minutes. I'm gonna stop at 4. We'll see how many words I get written. If I don't get to 821, which is my goal for the day, according to Scrivener, if I don't get to that before 4, I will continue doing some writing when I get back from hiking, but I don't want to be late getting out to the park, although it's 91 degrees. This is the first day we've gotten up into the 90s for the last like week and a half. I'm still gonna go hiking. I'm not gonna be able to stop myself from doing that. So yeah, anyway, let's get writing and see how many more dots I can add to this project. It was definitely warmer today than it's been the last few days. But this has been a lovely hike today. It is now, as you can see, golden hour, tail end of golden hour. We've got about 10 minutes before the sun sets. So yeah, didn't really do much thinking about the book, but writing earlier went well. I got over 1,000 words, so that's great. Very happy about that. Even started getting bits, like snippets of dialogue from different scenes I'm already envisioning. So I did create a new section in the different sections of my Scrivener binder just keep adding up. But I now have one titled Snippets of Dialogue. So as I'm envisioning or like hearing different bits of dialogue and having ideas for different scenes, I'm just throwing them in there with a brief notation of like what scene I think it'll be a part of, and then we'll see. So that definitely helped me get to a little over 1,000 words. But I also added other parts of my notes. So yeah, all in all, it was a really good afternoon. I got a lot of writing done. Still feel overwhelmed by this project. I just can't help it. Still feel overwhelmed, but I'm still having fun. So it's like, I'm overwhelmed, but I'm enjoying it. So like, maybe overwhelmed isn't quite the right word, but like, because I feel like overwhelm has more of a negative connotation, but it is a mix of emotions. Like, I'm excited, but I'm also scared and nervous, and it just feels like it's a lot. But the sun is now setting. I need to get going and get on with my evening. It's a work day tomorrow, but it is a short week because Friday is Saturday is Veterans Day, but it's observed on Friday, so we have Friday off. So it's a shorter week, which is great, but there's still a lot I have to get done this week. Although having Friday off will definitely help with like a final push of book work to get Independent Hearts off my plate. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna get going. Thank you for watching this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed, all of that good stuff. I would really appreciate it. Say hi in the comments. Your question for today, I guess if you're doing Nano, how are you feeling about your project? Like, are you excited? Is it feeling easy? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Is it a mix of both? By the time you're watching this, you know, it'll be like a full week into Nano, I think, because this one's going up on Wednesday. So like 1 week down, how are you feeling? I'm not quite a full week, so I'm still feeling overwhelmed. The project still feels massive, but like, where are you at in your Nano journey? If you're not doing Nano, let me know what you are watching at the moment on TV. I'm still watching Welcome to Wrexham, watched that last night. Golden Age has started back up on Max, so I need to get caught up. There's at least one episode, there might be two by this point, so I'm very excited to watch that. So yeah, is there anything fun and exciting that you are watching that is new to any of the streaming services? I would like to know. So yeah, let me know what you're watching. Let me know how your Nano is going, whatever, or both, whatever applies. And I'm gonna get home now, and I will see you all very soon in the next vlog. Thank you very much for watching this one. Bye.